Piers Morgan just dropped a bombshell, and it's the kind that could burn through the palace gates. According to Morgan, Prince Harry has been rushed to the hospital after a devastating incident left him completely bedridden. Not a twisted ankle, not a brief check-in. This is being described as a full collapse, and the implications go far beyond health. Morgan, never one to hold back, is using this alleged crisis to make a brutal point. Harry's not a royal warrior. He's a wreck, a disaster waiting to happen. A prince stripped of poise, crumbling under the weight of his own decisions. This isn't concern, it's condemnation.
Before we even get to the main event.
When the stakes are this high, doesn't it make more sense to hear our story from us?
Oh, shut up. What do you mean the stakes are this high? Who do you think you are? Other than a latte-munching imbecile.
And in Morgan's world, this isn't just news. It's justice. A man who fled the monarchy, rejected tradition, and launched his own image campaign, now allegedly laid out in a hospital bed, exposed and vulnerable. Piers isn't offering sympathy. He's sharpening his knives. And tonight, the world is watching what could be the beginning of Prince Harry's public unraveling. The whispers started early, muffled chatter at an upscale charity event overseas. Cameras were rolling, donors were mingling, and then everything came to a halt. According to multiple online rumors,
Wanting to exploit their royal titles, I think it stinks. And I think what King Charles should do, he should just strip them of the titles. The hours of this Netflix series paint a very different, far uglier picture of this country and our royal family. This series, and they'll believe it. They'll believe the smears about Britain and our monarchy, that we're a bunch of bigoted and hateful people. They even blamed Brexit for the racism which apparently was aimed at Meghan Markle, which is just completely absurd. But by far the most sickening part of this show for me was the constant use of Harry's...
Prince Harry suddenly collapsed without warning. Within minutes, he was allegedly rushed to the nearest private hospital under strict medical supervision. No official photos, no palace statement, just panic and silence. Speculation erupted instantly. Was it pure exhaustion? A physical injury? A pre-existing condition gone unchecked?
This also follows all the stories about her bullying style over here in the UK, which is unresolved. NDAs stopped all that stuff coming out, but she bullied people in a very unpleasant way over here.
She spreads her legs, she hikes her dress, she circles her genitals.
Or worse, was it the result of months of pressure, burnout, and relentless travel? Theories spun out of control. And while some begged for answers, others began connecting the dots to recent sightings of Harry looking tired, withdrawn, and overwhelmed. This isn't just about a health scare. This is a very public unraveling played out in front of flashing cameras and viral hashtags. For a man who once symbolized resilience and recovery, the image of him allegedly being wheeled into a hospital has people asking if the cracks have finally split wide open. But Piers says there's more beneath the surface, and he's ready to rip the curtain off.
It's about an hour-long cab ride, never seen his grandchildren. This show is packed with a kind of spurious claims and hypocrisy that have become the Sussex signature. We learned they began making videos about their heroic journey 6 months before their Netflix deal was even announced, and right at the start of a pandemic that was killing. About to, if you excuse the massive book deals, the Silicon Valley startups, the preaching videos about well-being, the podcasts, the speeches, and the major network interviews with everyone from Oprah Winfrey to James Corden. But they've barely been seen or heard at all, have they? Well, on Thursday, they'll quietly and apologetically release their $100 million.
Leave it to Piers Morgan to take a private health emergency and weaponize it into a global statement. Hours after the incident, Morgan went live, firing off social posts claiming Harry was bedridden in a sterile ward, the result of what he dubbed a terrifying health scare. And he didn't stop there. He didn't offer concern. He delivered a verdict. Morgan called out Harry's reckless lifestyle, his constant need for attention, and accused him of ignoring repeated red flags. According to Morgan, Harry's alleged hospitalization wasn't some random twist of fate. It was the final act in a months-long self-destructive spiral.
There's a real delight in being able to be a present parent. And it's a luxury sometimes because we all have to work. We all have a lot of stuff to do. But when you can take a minute to just...
Saturday morning.
Back of your head. This gruesome twosome only survived by cashing in on what's left of their royal status now. I said it before, I'll say it again tonight. King Charles should strip them of all their remaining titles and cast them out from any connection to the royal family. How could any of them trust them as far as I could throw them? Because without it, they're just whining millennial windbags.
Pushing himself too hard, ignoring professional boundaries, and refusing to slow down, even when the warning signs were screaming. Piers didn't hold back. He said Harry had no one to blame but himself, and that this, being confined to a hospital bed, was the price of arrogance, isolation, and poor judgment. He called it inevitable, and what's more chilling, he hinted that more fallout is coming, that this is just the tip of the iceberg. And now the world is biting down hard. Headlines are multiplying.
Harry and Meghan are the problem. And while we're going to go over all the people that they've hired, just as a great reminder, the couple have hired plenty of professionals before. People at high levels who have worked for Bill Gates, Patagonia, all these sorts of things. And yet none of them have been successful. The common denominator in everything here is Harry and Meghan.
Favourite little niece, Ashley. Meghan also sees she got no advice on royal protocol, forcing her to learn how to be a princess all on her own.
Joining this family, I knew that there was a protocol for how things were done. There's no class in some person who goes sit like this.
Press show her wearing pretty much every colour in the rainbow. The show opens with the claim that the royal family declined to comment on the series. That's another lie. The palace says it received one email from an unknown company and attempts to verify it with
Hashtags are trending. And once again, Harry's life is being dissected under a microscope, this time not as a royal rebel, but as a cautionary tale unraveling in real time. And now this is going global. It didn't take long. Within hours of Piers Morgan's explosive claim, the internet turned into a battlefield. Hashtags like #Harry hospitalized and #Morgan reckoning trended worldwide. One side demanding answers, the other demanding silence. Royal watchers flooded timelines with speculation. Some accused Morgan of crossing the line, exploiting a man's health crisis for clout. Others doubled down, calling Harry's alleged collapse the inevitable consequence of years of ego and rebellion. Headlines weren't soft. PR exception turned PR nightmare, screamed one British tabloid. Another asked if this was the beginning of the end for Prince Harry's global influence. Major outlets weren't confirming anything, but that didn't matter. Social media had already declared its verdict. Sympathy? Rare. What flooded the comments were critiques. Threads dragging up past interviews, Netflix clips, even body language analyses. One viral post showed a side-by-side of Harry's military past next to him allegedly confined to a hospital bed with a caption, "From hero to helpless." It was brutal, but it went viral. Fast. The public isn't reacting to a man in distress. They're reacting to the brand, and right now, that brand is bleeding. But the fallout isn't done. Behind palace doors, the tone is sharp and the stakes are rising. Insiders say Kensington aides are furious, not just at the leaks, but at Piers Morgan directly. Some allegedly blame him for escalating what could have been handled quietly. Others are demanding tighter media control moving forward. There's panic, because this isn't just gossip. It's a direct hit to royal stability. Questions are now swirling like a cyclone. Are royal doctors preparing a statement to shut the story down? Or are they letting it run wild to craft a more sympathetic image? Is the firm going to protect Harry, or let him take the fall for his choices? No one's answering. That silence speaks louder than anything else. Meanwhile, Harry's inner circle is reportedly divided. Some friends in California have allegedly rushed to check on him. But others, especially high-profile allies in Hollywood, have gone completely dark. The same public figures who once shared Instagram photos with Meghan and Harry are suddenly staying quiet. No public support, no retweets, just strategic distance. That silence isn't accidental. It's survival. No one wants to get dragged into a media inferno sparked by a royal health scare and fueled by Piers Morgan's fury. But there's a deeper angle. This isn't just a health scare, it's an unraveling of Harry's carefully curated image. For years, he branded himself as the symbol of modern resilience, a soldier turned activist, a prince who walked away from the system to stand for something more.
But now,
that image is under siege. The idea of a strong, grounded, emotionally aware leader doesn't match the rumor of a man allegedly collapsed, frail, and hospital-bound. The disconnect is jarring, and Piers Morgan is hammering that point home. According to Morgan, this wasn't random. It wasn't sudden. He claims Harry's downfall has been building for months, maybe even years. An exhausting media grind, non-stop appearances, podcast pressure, foundation management, and a desperate push to stay relevant. Morgan isn't suggesting bad luck, he's calling it self-inflicted. The more Harry fought for attention, the more he burned through his own stability. That's the narrative Morgan is planting, and some are buying it. This alleged collapse isn't just seen as a health issue, it's being treated like a public performance failure. The end result of trying to carry too many titles, too many battles, too much fame. Was Harry pushing past his limits in the name of image? Did the pressure finally turn inward? And now, with cameras off and the spotlight paused, all that's left is the silence of a hospital room and a man forced to face the wreckage. Yet the narrative tightens. What makes this different from any past headline is that it hits every fault line in Harry's orbit. His health, his leadership, his legacy, it's all on the line. If Morgan is right, and this is the consequence of reckless pacing and ego-driven ambition, then Harry isn't just in recovery mode. He's in reputation collapse. This is a high-stakes crossroads. Pull back, disappear for a while, let the PR team clean it up. Harry might salvage what's left. But if he digs in, tries to spin this or downplay it, he could lose the very credibility his public life is built on. Every cause he supports now carries a question mark. Every appearance, every speech, every campaign will be viewed through the lens of this incident. Meghan, too, isn't untouched by this. Whether she issues a statement or not, the silence around her becomes a story of its own. Critics are already pointing fingers. Some ask why she wasn't by his side. Others speculate she's trying to distance herself to protect her brand. No matter the truth, perception is everything, and right now the perception is brutal. And then there's the monarchy. This crisis, sparked by a runaway royal turned media figure, reopens every wound the firm has tried to heal. It reminds the world of the divide, the drama, the dysfunction. It's a shadow that stretches all the way back to Buckingham Palace. If this hospitalization is just the beginning, if more incidents follow, or more truths leak, then this story becomes more than a moment. It becomes a symbol of burnout, of downfall, of what happens when legacy, ambition, and isolation crash head-on. The royal game may never be the same again. The moment Harry's alleged hospitalization made headlines, all eyes turned to one person, Meghan. Supporters expected a statement, a photo, even just a gesture. But what came instead was nothing. Absolute silence. No Instagram post. No spokesperson comment. No appearance at his side. And in the vacuum of that silence, the narrative turned hostile fast. Critics are pouncing. Some say she's being strategically absent, protecting herself and her brand. Others claim she's distancing from a crumbling public image. Influencers who once championed #Team Sussex are now openly asking, is this a marriage under pressure or a partnership on pause? The tabloids have weaponized the silence, calling it cold, calculated, and damaging. Even loyal fans are divided. Was she advised to stay quiet, or did she choose it herself? Either way, Meghan's lack of public support has become its own headline, feeding into long-held rumors that the unity between them has quietly fractured. And while she stays quiet, everyone else is filling in the blanks. But behind the silence, whispers are growing louder. Whatever playbook Harry and Meghan had in place, it's not working. Their team, known for carefully choreographed appearances and emotionally charged messaging, has been paralyzed since this story broke. There's no damage control, no narrative reset, and that's opening the door for Morgan and his allies to control the public conversation unchallenged. Sources claim the couple's PR firm has been scrambling to decide their next move. One insider allegedly said, "They're caught between sympathy and spin, and they're losing both." Every hour without a statement reinforces the image of chaos. Worse, their usual platforms are turning cold. Major networks are reportedly hesitant to rebook them for interviews until clarity emerges. Streaming services are reevaluating project timelines. Even podcasts once eager to host them are suddenly rescheduling. The machine that once made them media royalty has slowed to a crawl, and no one knows if it's temporary or permanent. And now, the palace may step in, ready to reclaim control of the royal narrative. While the Sussex brand stalls, Buckingham Palace is allegedly preparing to make moves of its own. According to insiders, senior advisors are viewing this incident as an opening, a chance to remind the public who the real royals are, and to cut ties once and for all with the chaos Harry's shadow brings. Some say the palace is quietly reaching out to key outlets, offering exclusive interviews and background briefings to reposition the firm's image as calm, collected, and compassionate in contrast to the Sussex drama. Others believe Charles is preparing a quiet but symbolic reshuffling of royal patronages, one that distances official monarchy functions from anything linked to Harry. If that happens, it's not just a cold shoulder. It's a royal exile, a formal message to the world that the House of Windsor is closing ranks and drawing the line for good. One false move, one more incident, and Harry may find himself not just on the outside of the palace, but erased from the family's future altogether. Because this isn't just a health scare anymore. It's a battlefield. And only one side is preparing to win. Prince Harry may be lying in a hospital bed, but Piers Morgan is telling the world he's hurt far more than flesh and bone. The question now, is this a wake-up call or the beginning of a public breakdown? Are we witnessing a royal rescue in motion or a headline-driven finish? Drop a comment. What side are you on? Because whatever comes next, the world is already watching Harry's next move.